Today, I have a challenging task of reviewing what we did all through the entire season, starting on September 22nd last year, and then also summarize the last chapter of the Gita, which is the 18th chapter of Moksha Sannyasa. We started in September, and this is the ninth of the series, discussing important books that my dear wife, Kumud, who's not next to me, inspiring me, the books that we always refer to study. And later on went on to discuss Garland of Long Song, Bhagavad Gita, Mala, Mantra. Talked a great deal about sage Vyasa and the meter of composition he preferred to use, which Anushtuv in Sanskrit means is able to still the mind or quietens the mind. And we went on to discuss the blessing of being born as a human being and reminded ourselves that let's not waste this divine gift of human existence and try to fulfill the human mission of getting enlightened in this very life. If we use this life properly, you're the best friend. If you don't, you become the worst enemy. My wife's favorite words, Uddharet Atmanatmanam, Natmanam Avasadayet, Atmaiva Yatmano Bandhur, Atmaiva Ripuratmana. We learned a story about a average householder, Tulsi Gosain, a recently married man who was motivated to accomplish the monumental task of becoming the most ardent devotee of Lord Rama, simply on the fervent and heartfelt encouragement by his loving and gifted wife, and she was an intense Rama devotee. And similarly, I hope that we ourselves will be motivated to find our true identity from these teachings of Lord Sri Krishna. As we went along, we learned about 6 key factors that allowed us to succeed in life: sincere efforts, immense enthusiasm, dogged perseverance, solid knowledge, seeking resources, and sincere willingness to face any obstacles along the way. And in that situation, God will always come to help us. Udyamam, sahasam, dhairyam, buddhi, shakti, parakrama, sharete yatra vartante, tatra devaha sahayakrit. The key thing is, in order to get that divine help, individual has to learn to surrender one's ego and remain sincere and prayerful all his lifetime, and not simply during the time of need. We went on to discuss Karma Yoga, which came about because at the end of the second chapter, Sri Krishna said, Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumauscharati nispruha nirmamo nirhankara sashantim adhigachyati. Honestly, at the end of the second chapter, the entire teaching of Gita was really over. But what happened was Arjuna, a good student as he was, confused indeed he was, he respectfully asked a question because he said that, I thought that you meant that one must give up all the desires in order to be happy. And then I recollect you saying, Ato va vapsasi swargam jitva tva bhokshase mahim tasmat uddishta kavanteya yuddhaya krita nischaya. Now he was totally confused. One time you're saying, give up all the desires, asking me to fight. But good student here he was. He asked him questions very respectfully. Jayasi Chet Karmanaste. That's where the third chapter starts. And then went on for 15 more chapters till time we arrived at the final chapter I'm going to discuss today. Along the way, we studied Karmanyeva Adhikaraste Ma Faresh Kadachana. And during Karma Yoga, we learn Samatvam Yoga Uchyate Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. We have to learn Karma Phala Svikara Samatvam. We have to learn graceful acceptance in the Prasad Buddhi. And whatever we do, have a offering of all of our actions to Lord Ishvara Arpana Buddha. Along the way, we learn that divinity contains right in the very cave of our heart, and it cannot be gained by mere actions or collecting a large amount of money, billionaires. Only through the sacrifice can one achieve that level of enlightenment. Na karmana, na praja dhanena, tyagena eke, amrutatvam anashu, parena nakam, nitam guhayam, bibhratate jadyatayo vishanti. And we learn that once you get enlightened, you're able to see yourself as you really are, as if describing as adarshastam mukham it yadvat. Experience, that means you are looking yourself in the mirror. In the month of January, we studied Bhakti Yoga, but describing all different kind of yogas. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatama mata. The person yogi who worships me with total devotion and thus is intimately connected with me will already accomplish the goal to gain the knowledge, that Atma. That is the best bhakta of mine, Utkrishta Mata. That's what he described. We remembered 39 qualities that Prasanna has discussed before, starting with Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, Maitra Karuna Evacha. And we reminded ourselves of 74 consecutive verses talking about Gita Amrutam, which included 19 verses, the last 19 verses of chapter 12, entire 35 verses of the 13th chapter, and the first 20 verses of the chapter 14, Gita Amrutam. And when you reach that level of enlightenment, jnani, that enlightened individual, having reached that level of understanding and connecting with his inner true self, such individual lives exactly in the same place, eats the same food, eats the same chapati bhaji, same idli sambar, but his transformation allows him to live in full awareness. Such enlightened individual, while living, called Jivan Mukta, his life, lives in the full spirit of awareness. For him, his human life is divine gift. He experiences his true nature of eternal awareness with limitless bliss and happiness. He knows that the gift of human life is a journey and not just to achieve, but now to fully experience and embrace. When he lives in awareness, each moment unfolds for him its hidden beauty, much like a meaningful line in an enchanting poem. Awareness transforms his mundane routines into meaningful rituals, his struggles into growth opportunities, and the fleeting moments of the remaining life into timeless memories. His awareness, as we learned, is not just seeing, but also understanding. It is to be fully present, acknowledging the joy and pain, the ups and downs, and letting the life flow with grace. And one such individual lives in awareness, he does not merely exist, he literally thrives. He finds beauty in simplicity, purpose in the present, and poetry in the everyday rhythms of his life. He advises his fellow beings, not simply on Sunday, just every day, that take a moment, pause from your hectic lifestyle, and try to reflect. Do maintain your focus on your goals that you have set up for yourself while remaining grounded in the values that our forefathers have taught us. But live in that awareness with your true nature and turn your human life, this true divine gift, into a most beautiful life story ever will be written and experienced by you. And the final session, we talked about meditation, dhyana yoga, and then we also referred to scientific research that has helped us to understand the meditation that we know by experience, how one feels, by showing the scientific proof, if you want to, for the so called scientists to be satisfied that, yes, indeed, meditation does help. It started actually in 1968, we referred to when Herb Benson at Harvard uh, was requested by Mahesh Yogi with transcendent meditation. He was able to use it, was able to see the parasympathetic system came into play where the blood pressure went down, the chronic pain went down. At John Zen at the Institute of Massachusetts Medical School use it from the Buddhist teachings. And then we also refer to a few special neural networks which demonstrate increased connectivity and functioning and shows the increased thickness of the cerebral cortex as well. And if you don't do the meditation, often with the stresses and strain in our life, we tend to get grounded and feeling uncomfortable when we are connected with what we call a default mode network. And that creates the problems that we tend to feel in this 21st century. And that's where you meditations are able to improve yourself. But that also the attention network is able to bot into the action and the person's brain improves in functionality as well as cortical thickness by structure measurements. So that is what we have done so far as the first few sessions during the course of the year. And that brings us back to the final chapter of Gita, which is the 18th chapter. Now, Shraddha is our basic value structure and attitude towards life that shapes our faith in God. Prasanna, you were asking questions about Shraddha, if I remember. We discussed it before, but again, let me start with that. It defines but not necessarily directs our pursuits because this Shraddha is made up of three gunas, and Shraddha can be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. When Shraddha is in keeping with the Vedic vision that Brahman is everything that exists, we're able to see right from wrong and direct our pursuits accordingly. We may be mechanically following these Vedic mandates, including worships described beautifully in Samhitas, or performing rituals described in Brahmanas, or even meditation described in Aranyakas. But if our Shraddha is not directed toward this vision that Brahman is everything that exists, their efficacy will surely fall short of reality. And Sri Krishna concluded the 17th chapter by emphasizing that without this kind of Shraddha, even the noblest of our pursuits will not mean anything. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam krutam chayat asad iti uchyate partha nacha pretya no ear. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance performed without the faith is not permanent. It is referred to as asat and is not favorable in this life or next. Pretya no ear. While referring to the unselfish dedication to Brahman, Bhagavan Sri Krishna used the words such as karma yoga or tyaga, but referring to knowledge of Brahman, he used the word sannyasa. The first topic was Yoga Shastra, and the second topic was Brahma Vidya. That's why at the end of every chapter we say Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Amuk Amuk Adhyaya Swaha. So basically, like every adhyaya ends up with Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. It was with respect to these two aspects of Vedic methodology that Lord Sri Krishna presented two lifestyles, Sansari or a Karma Yogi, sannyasi or renunciate in the third chapter, and not comprehending the entire Vedic vision, individuals confuse between these two. They pursue the worships, thinking that the goal of life is winning favors from God to go to heaven after death. And other people, unfortunately, prematurely abandon their duties in life and become sannyasis and cause problem for them and their families. Example, Madhavi is Vittal Pant. He wanted to become sannyasi when he was responsible to be a grasti, father of Dhaneshwar. Swami Dayananda, my teacher, observes that some people even believe people have to practice this knowledge in life to attain moksha. They listen to the lectures, read the books, and once they've read them and listened to them, they think they have achieved everything. And they, as long as they remember the words and use it in life, they're able to achieve the goal. And that is the confusion in their life. So again, in this chapter, just he had done in the previous chapters, Arjuna once again asked Krishna, I wish to know the essence of sannyasa and that of tyaga, as well as difference between the two. So in order to clear up the confusion once and for all, Lord Sri Krishna undertakes an exhaustive analysis of tyaga karma yoga, the means leading to sannyasa, the ultimate goal to gain knowledge of Brahman. Thus, this final chapter serves to sum up the teachings unfolded in the earlier chapters. Because this concluding chapter re-establishes the purpose of the Vedas, which precisely is to liberate a person through knowledge. It is titled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, meaning the topic of total liberation through ultimate knowledge. In the 14th and 15th chapters, Lord Sri Krishna had emphasized that Karma Yogi must overcome his gunas in order to direct his pursuit objectively towards gaining the ultimate vision with clarity, or in other words, true cleansing of his mind. Hence, he declared that in this chapter, the discriminatory person should not give up mandates such as yajna, tapa, and dana, since they alone can purify the mind. Bhagavan Sri Krishna emphasized that they should be performed as one's duty by being unattached to them and their fruits. Karma yogi is not opposed to unpleasant activity or addicted to pleasant activity, and he alone gets endowed with a pure mind and gains discriminating knowledge, thus becoming free from all doubts, said Lord Sri Krishna. We are all karma yogis here because um, we are not sannyasis, some are householders. The discriminating knowledge recognizes that no activity is capable of delivering true freedom. Only through this realization one does not get attached to pleasant activity or remains unopposed to unpleasant one. So it is not possible for any human being to be actionless while alive. The freedom has to come in spite of individuals' activities. We must learn as we perform all these activities, we are neither the karta nor the bhokta. Karma yogi has to learn it is done through us, is enjoyed through us, but we are not the doers or the enjoyers. Lord Shri Krishna points out that the nature of I, the knower, as described in chapter 13, Kshetrajna, is not compatible with that of an agent in action. He says, "Oh, Arjuna, listen, Vedas mention 5 factors which are necessary for an action to take place. What are those 5 factors? A field, a body, an agent, ego, various means, sense organs, various activities, need organs of action, and the presiding deity. Let's not forget the presiding deity. Every activity requires these 5, whether the action is mental, spoken, or physical, whether the action is proper or improper. This being so, people who lack discrimination due to confused mind and see this agent same as untented self do not see the truth at all. You got to remember that spatial deity. Adhishthanam tathakarta kanam cha pruthakvidam vividasya pruthak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. Daivam, the divine presiding deity, is the most important fifth factor. All of the above factors are not true or Atman, but include the agent kshetra or the field as described in the chapter 13. My teacher comments that when we see external things wrongly, not major harm takes place. But when you see yourself, Atman, wrongly, it's a major problem. This self, I or Atman or Kshetrajna, obtains in this body only as the very witness of our mind and not performing any actions. People who do not see or realize this truth because of confusion, unfortunately. To clear up this confusion, Bhagavan Sri Krishna again defines the nature of the self. This self is the one who has no notion of I do agency, whose mind is pure, untainted. In spite of appearing as killer of these people's acting, he does not kill, nor is he ever bound to an action. Yasya naham kruto bhavo, buddhir yasya na lipyate, hatvami yasama imam lokan nahanti nahanti nadibadyate. Is the 17th verse of the 18th chapter. While Karma Yogi and Sannyasi are both dedicated to Vedic vision, that Brahman is everything that exists, the Karma Yogi has yet to see that the self is not the agent in his activities, but reminding them the previous discussions as well. We should not take for granted that all those who have taken care of vow of renunciation are true sannyasis as defined here. What I'm trying to say is Karma Yogis take long time to be enlightened. And that is also true of the sannyasis. Just because they put on the saffron robe, taken the vow of sannyasa, does not mean they are enlightened. They have to go through the studies as well except they don't additionally take responsibilities as grihasthis through taking care of. That's one of the most important part that we grihasthis do. We rear the children, take care of them. We carry out the duty as grihasthi, take care of the senior people, vanaprasthi, and take care of even the sannyasis when they come home for asking for bhiksha. So grihasthi being karma yogi is a far important part of varnashram system that we have. We do the basically grihasthashram is very important to remember, and that's why we are lucky to be doing that. Agency of this karma yogi is just a part of his activity along with his body, senses, organs, and natural forces, all of which are born of gunas, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, and they do not truly represent the real self. The self is the soul of the Atman, one who has no notion of I do, agent, whose mind is pure, untainted, in spite of appearing as the killer of these people. He does not kill, nor does he ever bound to the action. This agent is mithya, and that self is satya. The self is the ultimate reality, the Lord and Bhagwan, because of our ignorance regarding our true identity. A notion of agency takes over in our activities and experience. This notion becomes our personality and the basis of how we relate, deal as a word. It goes on to describe about all three things becoming together, where jnanam, nyayam, parijnata becomes together in the 18th and 19th verse of this chapter. Based upon the qualities, Sri Krishna went on to describe Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagasha Tasya Kartarva Vivam Vidyakartarva Ovyam. Then he describes in this 18th chapter, which I'm not going to go through, talking about how various forms of divisions of Varna in our society took place, have taken place based upon the qualities that they have. At the same time, emphasizing only one fact that each and every individual, regardless of Varna he or she has been born in, is integral part of the society. Varna is not based upon the family that you're born in. Varna is based upon the guna karma vibhagasha, the qualities that you have and the action that you do. So we talked about various examples where one family had people coming from different varnas, like in Balabhadra, who was in Jagannath Puri, was a farmer, Vaishya. Subhadra, the sister, was a Brahmin, and Jagannatha, Sri Krishna, was a Kshatriya. If you take the story, go back to Ravana's time. Bibhishana was a Brahmin, Ravana was a Kshatriya, and Kumbhakarna was Rakshasa. Basically, all different activities, Shudra, all the activities, depending upon what particular quali- qualities that you have and the actions you perform. And that too, we talked about, you can change what Varna you have. Parshuram, born as a Brahmin, became Kshatriya afterwards. And you can become born in the Kshatriya family, like Vishwamitra was, become a Vishwaratha, became Vishwamitra. So again, it is something to be remembered. That is not something permanent, but based upon guna, karma, vibhagasha. And that too you can change in your lifetime. Now, Karma Yogi pursuing the vision of Vedas accepts his vocation based upon the informed three gunas that we talked about. As the divine grace conducts his life, worshipping the Lord through everything, he remains responsible to his family and the society, as we described earlier, as he pursues professional activities, ever remaining committed to vision. Even if he sees faults in his naturally assigned duties, he does not have to change. This mature human being, my teacher Swamidayan that calls him, by pursuing his life with his committed vision, gains the ultimate knowledge. Realizing the ultimate knowledge itself is the attainment of Brahman or Moksha. Shankaracharya explains that our notion of agency as to who we are is a superposition on the self, like a snake or the rope. The mind itself is a product of Prakriti, causing its superimposition, reflecting the notion. In the wake of the self knowledge, knowing of knowledge, that we are Atman, the notion of being an agent is given up, and what mind then reflects is pure self, Brahman alone. Thus, the mind becomes Brahman, and this is moksha. It is gained not by being an agent in some activity, but by seeing through the knowledge that the self is Brahman and is never bound in spite of activities. With this knowledge, one sees Brahman, that is everything, the source and the sustainer of all existent things is that individual's true nature. A karma yogi becomes qualified to reconnect with his immanent Brahman by gaining purity and clarity of his mind. This comes about by developing certain characteristics and implementing them in his daily life, as detailed in earlier chapters, and must summarize as follows. By having mastered the body, mind, senses, by giving up desires for sense objects, by being free of likes and dislikes, by retiring to a quiet place, by being more ever contemplative, eating minimally and healthy, by being disciplined and in actions, mental, oral, physical, by becoming free from longing, ego, power, vanity, hankering, anger, possessiveness. One is thus involved in fit recognizing man and knowledge and reconnect with one's true identity, which is none other than Brahman. I know there's too many things I'm talking at the same time. But if you just take your time and refer back to 51st, 52nd, and 53rd verse of the 18th chapter, Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च शब्दादीन विषयान् त्यक्त्वा रागद्वेषौ विद्यस्य च विविक्त सेवी लघ्वाशी यत्वाक काय मानसा ध्यान योग परो नित्यम वैराग्यम समुपाश्रित अहंकारम बलम दर्पम कामम क्रोधम परिग्रहम विमुच्य निर्मम शांतो ब्रह्म भूताय कल्पते. Or you read them very carefully. And I'll try to send my notes to you, so don't worry about it. Having gained his wisdom, this individual's mind becomes even more cheerful. He does not grieve or long for anything. He sees all beings the same as himself and is most beloved to me. Because of this devotion, he completely knows me and he becomes myself. Shri Krishna says, Brahmarupa prasannatma न शोचति न कांक्षति समम सर्वेषु भूतेषु mad bhakting labate param. Love here is, now remember, love here is not a reciprocal relationship based upon demand. It is a shared identity. As described in 12th chapter, when Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that such a qualified devotee is very dear to me, he indicates that such a devotee becomes one with him. Something very important to remember is not a question of a shared identity, but basically you are exactly the same as this is my dear friend, Madbhakta becomes none different than me. Is no longer a reciprocal relationship, but actually becomes one with him. The moksha, the state of liberation, is freedom from the very sense of being limited while living through all this relationship, living through all roles, living through all responsibilities, undertakings, in terms of our agency in them. But when I'm established in this knowledge that I'm Brahman, mind becomes free of all delusions, all doubts, all fears, and all longings. I understand I'm not an agent of an actions. The agency is because of me. Moreover, the agency is sustained by me and resolves into me alone. So I can be an agent of activities, but the agent is not my reality. It is just like a role played by an actor. While playing the role, the actor assumes a specific role and gives his best performance and gets Academy Awards. As yet, he is always aware that he is not that role. As Shri Krishna says, Tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avayam na karmani limpanti na me karma phale spraha iti mam yo bijanati karma bir nabas sabhadyate. When while active, his enlightened individual knows it is simply the witness, totally insulated from the sense of ownership of those activities or the enjoyer of outcomes of those actions, and thus is insulated from the consequences. Thus, he ever will be free and liberated. Coming to the end, guys, Swami Dayananda, my teacher, explained that moksha is not only possible, but is immanent and already an established fact to be discovered by every one of us. This is not a state of being actionless or to be obtained only after death. I assume an agency through this body mind complex, just like Sri Krishna assumes his form in the form of creation. And Lord mentioned in 13th, 413 and 4, 9, 10, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetu Nanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparipartate. With me as a presiding presence, the Prakriti creates the world of movable, immovable. Because of this, Arjuna, the world undergoes changes. He finally commands Arjuna to pursue his vision. Hey Arjuna, being the one whose only end is me, mentally renouncing all actions in me, resorting in life of karma yoga, may you become the one whose mind is always in me, and having your mind always in me will cross all difficulties with my grace. But if you do not follow this pursuit, you'll certainly perish. If out of self delusion you think, I should not fight, then your resolve will be false because you'll be only be subserving your prakriti. This delusion will bind you to your actions born of prakriti, and you'll be helpless in those actions, even if you did not wish to do them. Here, Arjuna, Lord is present at the core of every person. Through Maya, he causes all beings to act as if driven by machine. Abide in him alone for your own pursuits. By his grace, you will gain absolute peace and resolute disposition. Shikara says, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani maya tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantyam sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. 61st and 62nd verse of the 18th chapter. He said, I imparted to you the knowledge that is the most secret of all secrets. So consider it completely and do as you wish. He is concluding. Please listen to my final and most secret words. I'm only telling you for your own sake. You're definitely beloved to me. Think of me, be devoted me, worship me. He said, Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyat guhyataram maya mrmushena tadeshena yatha ichasi tatha kuru. Sarvaguhyatamam bhuya shunu me paramam vachaha ishtosi me duramiti tato vakshami te hitam. Manmana bhava bhakto madhyajima namaskuru mame vaishadi satyam te patijane priyo me. Bhagavan concludes his teaching by saying, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masacha. Renouncing all pursuits, take refuge in me alone I'll release you from all the consequences of action so that you may not grieve. Here, the word me used by Lord Shri Krishna is in the sense of the ultimate and the only reality that is self, Atma. Having already revealed exact identity between Atma and the Lord, this statement becomes a very clear and appropriate statement. He negated all worldly pursuits, noble or otherwise, as a substitute of knowing the truth. Thus, he commanded Arjuna that the only pursuit for him is to take refuge in this reality for gaining freedom from all consequences of his actions and remove his grief. Having taught the necessary knowledge, there remained nothing else for him to say or teach. And once again, Bhagavan stressed that his teaching is meant for someone like you, Arjuna, like us, who is grounded in religious disciplines, has absolute devotion or shraddha in the Vedic vision, not simply superficial or passing interest. If an individual lacked these strict qualifications, he was considered unfit to receive this knowledge. And finally, Sri Krishna asks, has this course been listened to you carefully? Partha, have you listened to it with a single point in mind? Is your delusion caused by ignorance destroyed, Dhananjaya? To that pointed question, Arjuna finally answers, Nashto moha smutir labdha tvatspasadatmaya sitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Hey Shri Krishna, by your grace, my delusion is gone and I've gained recognition of myself. Hey Archuta, Hey Shri Krishna, Hey Achyuta, I remain as the one from whom all doubts are gone. I'll do exactly what you have said and taught. Shri Guru Pyo Namah, Shri Krishna. I'll stop here and take some questions and comments, please.
Thank you, Shashi. Wonderful discussion. Let me go back and relate what you said
Yeah.
in our own lives. You said once that it's not enough to read the Gita from beginning to end. You have to understand each verse in the Gita to understand the complete meaning of what Gita says. I agree with you. But as a practical matter, we get confused with so many things. Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Raja Yoga, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, you name it, everything is there. So, in order to digest all of that, what I have learned from your teaching over the last few years is always concentrate on three things: Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana in your everyday life. And then, no matter what you do or what you don't do, but always practice yajna, dana, and tapas in your life. And those three duties, we can easily incorporate that in our own lives without sacrificing anything, in my opinion. But to religiously follow Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana takes discipline, because it's very easy when things are going my way to appreciate the Shraddha that I have with God. And if things don't go my way, the foundation is a little bit shaky. So, what you're saying is, regardless of the circumstances, if you maintain Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana, you're okay. You'll get through the exam without any problem. So, that's the message I take. And so, I can weave all of these yogas that you talked about: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, etc. All of them you can weave into the rubric of Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana. So I'm simplifying things so that I don't get overwhelmed with so many interpretations and so many new stuff. I don't know what to do. Don't worry, Prasanna. Just have faith in me. Just believe me. Be devoted to me. And then you pray sincerely. I'll take care of you. In your daily lives, don't be selfish. Don't always be cruel to others. Appreciate what God has given you and share the blessings of God with others who are not so fortunate, which you can see. I do grocery shopping for my family, and I can see how people are struggling to pay groceries. I've seen an elderly lady asking the person at the checkout counter, "Oh, it is $45. I got only $30. So why don't you remove some of this stuff and make it $30?" It brings tears to your eyes. And you always have to be generous to others if you can afford it. Others will be generous to you when the time comes. But I'm taking the three things firmly established in my own mind: Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana. All the rest follows. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking at all the rest, but concentrate only on those three. You have emphasized it over and over and again. There must be a reason for it, and the reason being that these three are, I wouldn't say easy, but they're manageable. And you get into it, then it becomes part of your life. And that's my take. So whatever you do, it must become part of your personality, part of your life. And Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyana are part of my life.
You're right, Prasanna. This is the opening answer given by Brahmadev in the Kaivalya Upanishad to Ashwalayan. He goes to him, well prepared Rishi, saying, kindly tell me the wisdom, give me the knowledge, then I'll be enlightened. Give me that knowledge that allows me to reach that stage. So he says only one mantra: Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogat Away. May you gain that by Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyan. But again, just because you write a prescription to the doctor, that does not mean that patient is going to get that medicine. But that patient has to come and make certain that he finds that medicine, he knows how to use it, and then see the change in himself or herself. And for that, you need all the discussion that we had. I exactly understand where you're coming from, but I think you summarized it beautifully as what are the essential parts of it are. And only other thing I'll make a comment about your brilliant commentaries that you made is that all these things we are talking about are not all compulsory. You can pick and choose what you like. You go to medical school and give various medications, but pick and choose that suits your temperament. Pick and choose what your disease needs you. So use it most effectively to ultimately reach the same state of healthy state of body, mind, intellect, and ultimately the spirit. So that's what we are trying to talk about. Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, Yoga, the way. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Dr. Sane. This is Shanti.
you, Shanti.
Um, um, it was very enlightening. It was hard to practice. You need a set of support system also to practice these things when you are in grahastha phase and you are going through those challenges in life. When time comes, when there is an opportunity, a window of gap in your life takes place, what kind of support system would you recommend? When you are in the grahastha phase, but there is a time and an opportunity that was given to you. Use that time frame as Kadpa Kumar said, practice, mindfulness, and you just have to practice over. What are your thoughts? Uh, what are your advice to people like me in those stages in life?
Good question, Shanti. When you get sick, what do? You go and see a doctor. When you need a help in a situation like this, go to a person who can treat it. So you go to a person who will be able to teach you what your confusion is. Because I'm absolutely convinced to a personal experience, you already come with all package inside you. All the knowledge base is right within you. Only thing is that you are not learn how to decipher it to use it for your total ultimate goal, reaching the goal of getting enlightened. So when you're confused, you're normal. So accept that with a smile on the face and go to a person who knows it. Not a person who knows, he thinks he listens to 100 people and knows everything, but go to a person who really will listen to you and ask questions. But again, that question has to come in the form of respectful question. Uh, it has to be done jayasi chet karmanaste maya buddhi janardana, beginning of the third chapter. It has to be asked very respectfully. And he says, my mind was confused. He didn't say it doesn't what you make makes no sense. My mind was confused. Kindly explain to me. So what you do is go to a teacher that you respect, ask him or her as to how that particular situation can be solved. Because the answer is right with you. That teacher, having seen various examples in his lifetime, having gone through residency and fellowships, has realized what situation needs in a particular patient. So you have to go and ask for help. Sometimes what happens is that we human beings, and particularly doctors, and I'm not commenting about you at all, but Shanti, I know that, is we are afraid to ask for the help. Our ego gets in the way. Some people make comment everything's great. The ego is great. They know everything. They want to listen to everybody. But there's no, if you want to learn, ask questions. Just the way you ask questions. So when you go to a person for asking an advice, then that person who really recognizes that you're sincere about it, that individual is very happy to teach you. So basically, what I'm suggesting to you is ask for help, go to a person who knows the subject. And of course, that comes up to how do you find a good teacher? If teacher wants something from you, he's not your teacher. Teacher is a person who is really enlightened teacher, has more than enough than anybody can dream of. Go to that person. It's not only man, can be woman. They both of them are equally enlightened if they are enlightened. Ask for the advice and you'll get the answer. And learning process is not easy. You didn't go to medical school and a cardiologist overnight. You went through step by step, but still reached a certain level of academic excellence. But it was step by step. There were so many teachers on the way. You would ask questions and you got the answers. Okay. And besides, you go to the teacher and then he has a stick with him.
Along that line, Dr. Sane, I feel that it is a journey that never ends, so to speak. And then I feel that the idea is to enjoy the journey itself, derive the enjoyment or the moksha, the state of moksha, in the journey itself, rather than looking for destination that I am, achieving or attaining or arriving at something. What's your thought on that, please?
But that's only after you attend it. You see, you enjoy the ride after you have reached a particular destination. You don't enjoy the ride as a human being who's not enlightened. If you are enlightened, that means Jivan Mukta, having reached that state of enlightenment, then the rest of it is a gravy. Then you're enjoying it. But till the time your mind tells you that you're enlightened, you feel that way, you experience it, live it that way, then you know you're comfortable. Then your privilege is to help others as much as you can. Because that person doesn't require anything more, but is able to see through people very clearly. But the point is, you have to reach that stable of understanding, enlightenment, then enjoy the ride, whatever the remaining part of the life carries you through. Because there is nothing more to be gained. You see the fourth verse of the Kaivalya Upanishad says, those people who reach that level of enlightenment, when they die, that is their death for the last time. Their physical death is the ultimate one. I don't have time to teach you that now. Read the fourth verse of the fourth chapter, will explain to you. Kaivalya Upanishad. Okay, thanks. Any other questions or comments?
Dr. Sane, thanks for the excellent lecture.
Oh, you're welcome, Anil.
Thank you.
I'm going to come and attend your granddaughter's absolute graduation.
I'm also joining that.
Good, wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Madhavi, Milal?
Yeah, I'm listening to all the questions and discussions. It is, like you said in the beginning, the theory part is probably easy, but the implementing of everything in practical life, that is the biggest challenge. And especially for grihasthas, I think somebody else was
You're asking, yeah, right.
yeah, it's more challenging. It is, I at least personally find it is much easier to be composed and follow the principles outside of home, but within the home the dynamics is totally different. It's like there are no barriers between people.
That's what you do. You see, listen to the statement here. To know that you do not know
Yeah,
is a knowledge. You hear what I'm saying?
yeah,
To recognize that you do not know is a knowledge itself. But then in that situation, accept it as it is.
yeah,
Have a facade outside to impress other people. That may be okay for certain occasion, certain profession that you may be pursuing.
yeah,
But at the same time, make certain that because you need treatment in the area where you're uncomfortable, go and find the right teacher
yeah,
who can direct you in the right direction. So not having comfort level is okay. Recognizing it is smart, but then do something to find the answers for that. Find the
no, I don't think it is a facade in professional life. It is more like the challenges are not there, like with people who are close to you.
yeah.
The challenges are not there in professional life, the similar challenges.
You're right, Madhavi, because you have gone through residency, you've gone through the training, you've seen various diseases, you know how to deal with it. So you are comfortable with it. So you can handle those situations. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
But in the real life, this is not a cakewalk. It's
yeah.
that nobody told you is a bed of roses. The thorns are on way too. So, but the thing is, at that time, just like you open up completely before the doctor, open up somebody with the teacher. But again, as I was mentioning to Shanti, you have to be careful as to who you go as a teacher.
Yeah,
Also, that too happens, Madhavi, is you cannot go to Costco and buy for her. Basically, that also is a divine grace. Durlabham trayamevedat deva anugrahetukam manushyattvam mumukshvatvam mahapurusha samshraya. To get a good teacher, Mahapurusha, to teach you is also a divine grace. So that comes through certain stages in your life where you go through the ups and downs, challenges. You come across a person that it clicks and works out fine. Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
Mhm. By the way, because of your question, Madhavi,
Yeah.
you'll be speaking next Sunday now.
Oh,
Okay. So she's going to be speaking on special santas for Maharashtra. And so next Sunday, I'll send a note to everybody else. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
We've got about 5 more minutes.
Namaste, Dr. Sane.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Good. In your experience, in your personal journey of spirituality, was that helpful after you? And by the way, my son was sick at your very last week of when you were going into retirement, and you were the one actually, signed the discharge paper for my son. So I remember your retirement time. And so my question is, when in your spiritual journey, does your retirement helped? Because for me, when I go to work, I have to put that facade or whatever, and then I have to focus on work, and that kind of takes me away from Shraddha, Bhakti, and Jnana, that continually doing that. So I'm still 50, so I have a ways to go. But does the retirement expedite your spiritual journey, or getting to the destination, if you will?
Answer your question is no. I'll tell you why. Many of students of mine, and I was lucky enough to have a lot of young doctors working around me every time. Many times they would ask Dr. Sane, when do you pray? And I would teach them, I'm praying now. Because when I'm taking care of the patients, talking with their families, supporting them, advising them, counseling them, I'm doing prayer to God. Because every action that you do, you recognize, identify divinity in every individual that you interact with. And when you have that attitude, then you're doing prayers all the time. The Shraddha, Bhakti, and Dhyan, the thing that you have made who you are, whatever profession you may choose, you're using the same value system. Using your technological field, you're using that. But how you interact with the people that you deal with, that also is a part of your upbringing. So that prayerful attitude does not come only when you get home from work. Everything that you do is that way. I don't know if I'm giving you some answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it becomes a little difficult when somebody passes a negative comment towards your work, or then the ego kind of kicks in, and whether you fight back, or do you kind of take it that's
You know what? We'll talk about it off the line. But the quick answer to that is maybe the criticism is right.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I would rather have a friend who criticizes me than a guy who praises you, everything is just fine, 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 and talks bad behind your back, because that's not helping me.
Right.
So what I mean to say is that if somebody criticizes you, don't get upset. Wait a minute, did it really it was wrong? Did I need to do something do differently? At the same time, it was nothing wrong. And okay, that was his perception, so be it. But I can forgive him, because keeping that grudge against him or her is hurting you more than anybody else. So that also is a part of relating and learning as a spiritual teachings teacher. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.